Welcome back to Homesteading with the Zimmermans, where each week we give you another episode of what's happening here on our Northeast Iowa 21-acre homestead. My husband Alvin and I have been married for 25 years and we have 7 children. 5 of those children still live at home. Our oldest 2 are married and no longer live at home, so this means we also have 2 son-in-laws and 1 grandson so far. So on our 21-acre homestead, we seek to preserve the self-sufficient lifestyle of our Old Order Mennonite heritage for the next generation. We involve the children in every aspect of the homestead, from raising and harvesting our own meat, gardening and preserving to fill the family's larder, or preserving the dairy from the family milk cows, plus all the many other skills that develop the character and integrity and relationships of a family that seeks to bring glory and honor to their Heavenly Father. Good morning, YouTube family. In today's video, I am going to be answering some of the requests I get to show you guys my flower gardens. I know when I do garden tours, I'm often in the vegetable garden, and we'll do that too. It just might not be today. And so I'm going to show you the flower gardens, and then a couple months ago in the spring, it was barely spring, it was almost winter. I'll have to look at the date on the videos. I filmed how I make a new garden, and it wasn't going to be a vegetable garden, it was a new flower garden, right? And so I'm going to dig back through and find those videos of me making new flower gardens. Now, it wasn't these have been established for years and years, but it was our new flower gardens down here below the patio, and somewhere I've got lots of footage about building this patio, and I may be able to find some before and after pictures or videos of what the backyard used to look like, because a lot of you were not here before the patio was here. So these gardens back here along the steps and on top of the steps is what I filmed, and so I'm going to show you how I built all of this with my own 2 hands, not the steps. My nephew did those for me. And the method that I use to build these flower gardens, you can use. It's actually my favorite method for creating any kind of garden. So if you want to create a vegetable garden, you can use this same method. Now, I would love to do it in the fall. That would be, hang on. I found a toy that my nieces left out here. I'm taking it back inside. So my favorite method of building this, building a garden, is to start this in the fall. But if you're like me, you're probably more of a, oh, now it's spring, now I want a garden, and you want to build it in the spring. And in the fall, you're just done with gardening and you want to move on. So anyway, I'm going to take you on a short tour of the flower gardens, and then I will show you how I built my flower gardens. Up here by the front door, I have a lot of potted plants with annuals in. I like to put some of these elephant ears, and these are not annuals, so I have to dig these bulbs out and keep them every year. They're not hardy, so I can't let them out all winter. And then over here, there's a better example over here. This is a big monstera plant. This is actually, let me show you this new leaf. This is actually a house plant, but I put them out here in my planters over the summertime, and then of course in the fall when frost comes, or when frost threatens, I have to take out all the annuals and take my house plants into the house, or this year I think I can probably keep them in the guest house. So around the front of the house, I have a lot of hostas. I have some more elephant ears. I really like those up here on the north side of the house in the shade, because it just adds a lot of depth and dimension to the north side of the house. Those purple blossoms, those are all hostas, hosta blossoms. This beautiful yellow daylily here, and as you can tell, my hydrangea is about to bloom. And of course I've got some annuals, some petunias along the edge here. This gets full hot sun, so petunias do well here, even though I do kind of get tired of putting the same annuals in here every year, but there's a hot sun. So this goes all the way along the front side of the house. We built up these rocks years ago. I've started some new hydrangeas in there to kind of fill up that space. And there's a lily that's all done blooming, my other hydrangea. And then this section right here will still fill in. I didn't do a lot with this section because we were working on the patio kitchen, and I didn't want my nephew who built the patio kitchen for us to have to worry about my plants there. So I'll slowly fill that in with some nice perennials. I'm thinking some clematis that'll climb up to the top. And I really like these barberry bushes. I think those are gonna look really nice up against the stone wall. So anyway, so then this brings us around back to the patio where you often see me back here. And let me show you our patio kitchen while I'm back here. So my nephew put this in for us a couple weeks ago, and we're just waiting on the countertop. And once the countertop is in, I will do a full, I'll add some more to a video about this. But I'm really excited for my big canning burners that are all built in, and this thrifted kitchen sink, an Elven smoker. Anyway, I've got some potted plants back here on the patio. And then this is going down to the vegetable garden. So I've got some more planters here, and these big window boxes along the edge. These big window boxes along the edge of the steps. And then all right, so let's dig into the footage that I took on April 9th of this year and show you how I built these flower gardens down here. So the first thing I do is I lay down cardboard anywhere where grass or weeds are growing. I'm laying down cardboard that we've collected all winter long, and I know you see me here using a piece of colored cardboard, and that's okay. I'm not going to be growing food in these, gardens. I wouldn't use colored cardboard where I was growing food, but for the flower gardens, it doesn't matter that much. So one of the other things that you can do when you're putting cardboard down for building a garden is you get, at this time, to design the size and shape of your garden. So that's what you see me doing when I'm pausing and looking at what I'm doing, is I'm kind of deciding where to end the edge of my flower garden and just kind of, taking stock of the shape that I want it to be in. So then I start hauling compost from our compost pile, and our compost pile is mostly made up of of cow manure that we clean out of the barn every spring. So then, because it's often windy here, I don't want my cardboard blowing away, so I lay a little bit of cardboard down and then put compost on top. And because this flower garden on top of the stone wall is more narrow, I can't just dump everything out of my, scoop onto the flower garden or onto the cardboard, because it'll go everywhere. So I have to shovel out the compost for this top flower garden. But for the lower part of the flower garden, I can simply bring a load of compost and dump it directly on top of the cardboard. So the cardboard, I put the cardboard down to suffocate any weed seeds or grass seeds or weeds or grasses that would very likely come straight through the compost, because the compost is kind of light and airy, and it will let sunlight through down to the soil. So the cardboard will block out any sunlight and effectively stop any seeds from germinating or any weeds or grass from growing through. So throughout the summer then the cardboard will compost, but by that time hopefully I'll have enough plants in there that will cause shade and will block out sunlight from getting all the way down to the soil where the weed seeds or grass could start growing. So then every time I dump a load of compost, I get to shape my flower garden the way I want it to be. So in this case, I really wanted to fill in the corners and the back because it was sunk down kind of low from the back filling we did when we built the patio and put the wall in. So I knew that I wanted a lot of compost in the corner and against the back of the wall and wanted to kind of slope it down towards the front. So I'm in the middle of this project. Everything's going well. And I'm like, okay, I've got all this cardboard laid down. I've got a nice load of compost going. And my skid loader starts sputtering. And I'm like, no, you can't run a diesel fuel engine out of fuel. I got to turn it off. And I had called Alvin before I started the project. And I said, hey, I have a pretty big project. And I told him, I said, I have this pretty big project to do. Does the skid loader have enough fuel in it for me to do this project? And he's like, yeah, you should be fine. But he probably didn't understand exactly how big my project was. Anyway, it's not like I can go get diesel fuel because I don't have a vehicle here because our one car's in the shop. And he said, I called him, he said, there's no diesel fuel here. Anyway, so I probably have to pick up all that cardboard and wait to finish it for another day, but rain is coming. I'd really like to finish it. Maybe I'll call Mitchell at school and see if he can come, if he can go get diesel fuel and put it in so that I can continue this project. I know, I accidentally grabbed two. Use that one. Use Dad's. Thank you! Yeah. Try not to get it on your clothes, right? So that was a very busy, hard day. And about 10 days later, we took a visit to my sister's greenhouse, and I bought some perennials to put into my new flower garden. Okay, friends, today's the day that we are going to plant something into our new landscaping. And first we went to my sister's greenhouse and bought some perennials. So I know that my landscaping, my flower bed, is a whole lot bigger than these few little plants that I got. But I like to add a couple things at a time. Plus I know that once all of my perennials start coming up, I will be finding some that I know need to be divided. So then I'll just divide mine and add them to the new flower bed. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to decide which ones get the tallest, and we're going to put those in the back. Now, I don't necessarily want anything to get higher than the wall because I don't want anything obstructing my view to the garden. So I'm going to put my peonies there in the corner. And irises, I have purple and yellow. So I'm going to put some irises in, and I love irises for their foliage, even if they don't bloom a whole lot. And Shasta daisies stay fairly low, so I'm going to put a Shasta daisy in the front. And then of course there's my bee balm, and that gets 18 to 24 inches tall. So we're going to put that against the back. So as you can tell, that only fills up like a quarter of this flower bed, but that's okay. I know that when my peonies come up, they will need to be divided, and this gives me room to put some more peonies and also to buy more things that I see that I really like. So it has rained a couple times since I put this compost down, and so everything should be nice and settled, but I'm just going to plant everything right into this compost. There was worms in the compost, so I know that it is ready. It's composted enough that my plants will grow. And I'm gonna let this tag in there so I can remember. So I do dig down far enough, and see here I've gotten a bit of the cardboard and the soil. That way my plant's roots can find the soil. I'm going to put that soil down in there. Okay, so the thing about irises is you don't want to plant them too deep, because this needs to show or it won't bloom. So your irises, you need to let that part out of the soil. So if your irises aren't blooming, lift them up, put your shovel under them and lift them up until they are, I don't know if this is called their crown or their bulb maybe, is sticking out of the soil. So this is a yellow iris. You can tell this one's a little more petite. But here again, I'm going to not put this down deep at all. So if I was starting a vegetable garden using this method, and I did all of this work in the spring, I would only plant seedlings that first year and not do any direct seeding, because seeds, when they're planted in compost like this, just don't do as well. So if you're starting a vegetable garden like this in the spring, just use seedlings that first year. So I'll show you a shot of it this way, and maybe you can catch my vision for it. I just hope to have lots and lots of color spilling down over the wall, in front of the wall, and on the steps. So then I divided up all of my creeping phlox that I had around the front of the house, and I'm planting these at the top, along the top edge of the wall. And these are a perennial. They'll come back every year and they bloom very pretty in the spring. And I'm hoping that by next spring, these will be well established and give me a lot of color. So then, because I did want some color along the top edge of the wall, and I know that it'll take my creeping phlox, which are perennials, it'll take them at least a full year to get established, I decided to put some annuals along the top row here too. And this is alyssum that I'm planting, and this is a very good attraction for pollinators. And since I'm trying to catch a swarm of bees this year, alyssum seemed like a great low-growing annual for along the top edge of the stone wall. Okay, so now for some old photos of what the south side of the house used to look like. So the sliding door that you see in these photos is the same sliding door that now leads straight out onto the patio. It's just a small deck as a landing and then a lot of steps down the backyard. Here in this video clip, you can see the old ash trees were still here and the backyard sloped down to the garden, and the deck was raised to meet the sliding door. So then in this video, you can see the beginning stages of building our patio and how much fill we had to bring in. And this made our yard 2 levels, which is then when we decided to add that retaining wall, and I decided to put flowers all around it. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here for today's video. I enjoyed every bit of editing this one because it kind of took me back and showed me what a little bit of hard work can do and how it pays off with flowers, and so much more so with vegetables. So probably my next video, I will take you to the garden and show you how the vegetable garden is coming.